Hello everyone. Today I want to create a video about C++ and package management. I want to make C++ work as good as newer languages like Rust for dependency management. I think C++ is great. It solves a lot of problems that newer languages like Go, Rust, and Zig are trying to solve now. It's already done. A lot of these problems were solved years ago. C++ has smart pointers that make managing memory really easy. C++ has very high levels of abstraction, and it only makes you pay for what it's used. It has the concept of zero cost abstraction. C++ is extremely expressive. You can express ideas very well in C++. So why is there so much hate for C++? Why don't anyone use it for a lot of newer libraries other than like video games? Well, one of the ways you can understand that is, let's take a look at a newer language like Rust. Rust solves a lot of problems. It focuses on program correctness, and by doing that, it's able to come up with a nice way of managing memory. It knows exactly when to delete something because it knows nothing is using it. But there's a problem with having the compiler ensure correctness. A lot of recursive data structures and algorithms become very difficult to write in Rust. And those are perfectly fine algorithms to use. They make writing code enjoyable, and they make some problems solved very easily and very quickly and very efficiently. And I would argue that it's not actually program correctness that makes Rust such a good language. What Rust really has going for it is package management. Cargo is an incredible tool. Downloading and using other people's code is really easy in Rust. Even if maybe writing Rust code isn't very easy, using someone else's code is so easy that you maybe be able to solve problems in Rust faster than C++ just because building code in Rust is so much easier than in C++. I think that if C++ had dependency management and a build system as automated as Rust and Golang, it would probably be more productive and popular than both of those languages even today. So that got me thinking, can we come up with a build system similar to and almost as productive as, say, Cargo, for example? We can quickly take a look at one of my Cargo projects. I made Tetris in Rust, and it's very easy. You can just type cargo build. It goes and gets all the packages that you need. It builds it, and then you can just do cargo run, and you can have the game pop up. Very easy. So what if we wanted to do something like that in C++? Well, there are newer package managers for C++ now, and one that I was looking at recently is vcpkg, VC package, and it's Microsoft's cross-platform C++ package manager. It makes downloading packages easier in C++. And for a build system, there's really only one that everyone's using now, and that's cmake, unless you're building stuff just for Visual Studio, just for Windows. But for something cross-platform, we need to use cmake. And now we need to automate the downloading of all these packages. Cargo does that very well for Rust, but for our use case, I think we can use Docker. And we can use VS Code to kind of tie it all together, because VS Code has a whole lot of plugins. So let me show you how that works. We've got a Docker file that starts out with an image here. I'm using Ubuntu because that's the system I'm working on. And it goes ahead and updates the system, installs all our Linux dependencies that we'll need for an SDL2 app, and it goes and downloads the Microsoft Package Manager, and then it will install the SDL2 libraries through that package manager so that we can include those into our code. And it creates a user, so we're not building stuff as roots. And Visual Studio Code has a plugin called the Remote Development plugin that allows you to connect and run code in containers. So here you can see I can build my container, and it's going to go pretty fast because it's already built. Docker compose build. It built really quick, and then we can actually enter the container through VS Code reopening container, remote containers plugin. It's going to go out and download the dependencies for my project. It knows that it needs to get the cmake plugin because that's specified in a Visual Studio Code config. I can pick my compiler. I installed Cling in the Docker file. So now we have all our add-ons. Here, let me show you the place where we install the plugins. This file here specifies which Visual Studio plugins to install. Okay, so now I've got a cmake project and the build system is automated now. I can click into my cmake plugin, I can configure it, which will create the build directory, and then I can do cmake build and it will create an executable. And I can run that executable from my regular Ubuntu. You see here I've got a Pac-Man game that I'm working on in SDL. So I think the experience is really similar to Rust. cmake is still pretty terrible to work with. You have to, basically, but it's kind of repetitive. You just find package and then include it. So not as nice as Cargo, but I think it's pretty close. And I'm hoping to see maybe with C++ 20 modules to see if these build systems get much better. With this, you do have to know how to use Docker and you have to know how to use cmake and maybe a little make, so it's still a little complicated. I would rather have one tool that integrates all that and be cross-platform. But I think this is a pretty good solution. For now, I can download all these libraries that I need. They're automatically downloaded, just like Cargo does. It goes out and gets all the SQLite 3, a JSON library, SDL libraries. Works very well. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and put a link to this code on my GitHub. So if you want to take a look at it, and you can alter it to fit your needs. If you have a cmake project you want to build with C++, if you like C++ and you don't want to use another language, maybe the libraries you already want is in C++, you like object-oriented programming, maybe it's not the worst thing, you can try this instead of using Rust or Golang.